thing I have noticed, when a person's time has expired in your life, one indicator would be they only have the language for your past, right? It's always back then, do you remember, in this and that, in the past. It's nothing about the present. It's nothing about the future. And I believe because God hasn't graced them to continue on the journey with you. They don't have the language for the present. They don't have the language for the future, because where they are, they're stuck where they were supposed to be left at. I hope that makes sense, because you have to understand, when a person is called to your life, they're going to have the grace to do what it is that God have called them to do in your life. They're going to be able to speak to you and plant seeds and water seeds so God can give the increase to where you're going. But if a person is always talking about the past, that means they're trying to plant seeds in the past, and you're only going to get what you allow in your ear gates, right? You're only going to continue to get what you getting in the past if we continue on the past. You're not going to be able to move forward, but that's the indicator that their time has expired. It is time to go. And I think a lot of times people begin to possess people that they don't realize that we are on a journey, and not everybody is called to the end with you. So you have to get to a point where you gracefully let people stay where they should have been left. You got to leave people at where their time have expired, because you don't even have the grace to speak into my life up until this point. You have served your purpose in my life for what you came in my life for. But now it's time to go. And if I want to move forward, I got to be able to let you go. People come to serve purposes. And once that purpose have been fulfilled, it is time to release so you can continue on your journey. And it's not always about leaving on bad terms, right? We ain't cool no more. It's just you outgrow people, because we're not all going the same way. We're not all going to the same heights. And you got to be able to be okay with that. One thing I realized with God is never going to send in if you don't have no room. Sometimes you got to have the capacity, which means you got to let go of things, not only physically, but spiritually, right? Emotionally, mentally. A lot of people don't begin to elevate because they cannot let go, or they don't make room. God is not going to sin when you have so much, right? If I got two things in this hand holding up, and I sit here and I be like, okay, well, I'm waiting on something. You're waiting in vain, because what room do you have? What room do you have to receive? So you got to think about it. It's not about, oh, that person was sent by the enemy. No, what was a blessing at first, because one plant, one water, right? God gives the increase. What God needed you to get in that season, you got. But now you're not realizing that God is like, this is a new season. I need you to separate so you can elevate. This person is not going with you. And that's not to say that they're not going to go nowhere in life. They're just not going where you are going. So you got to get to a point where you realize the signs. Okay, this is where you become sensitive to the seasons in your life. Okay, God, what are you telling me in this season? Because clearly this person doesn't have the grace to speak to where you're taking me. And that's okay. But that means I got to detach. This don't have nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with me and my walk with Christ. So guess what? I love you. God bless you. I thank you for everything you did in my life up until this season. But now it's time for us to part ways. So not only I can make it to where I need to be, but you can make it to where you need to be. I don't want to be aiding and embedding in your delay, in your stagnation, to you getting to where you need to be so you can help others, right? Because we are called to different people. So if I'm stuck with you and you stuck with me, it's people up there that is not being saved. It's people up there that, you feel me, their blood is on our hands. Why? Because we're still getting caught up on, this is a friendship, and this is this, and this is that. And God is like, did you forget you got a purpose in this? Did you forget that we need to be getting to destiny, that we need to be getting to purpose, that we need to be winning souls, that we need to go to different heights and elevations and speak to who you need to speak to? It's not about relationships and friendships. And I'm realizing that. I have come to realize that life is a self journey, and you have to realize this walk is with you in Christ. Everybody is not going to end with you. It's so much bigger than we think. And that's what God is opening my eyes to. We can become so selfish in our emotions and what I want. And God is like, baby, it's souls out here that you need to reach. It's people out here that is screaming for help spiritually, and you sitting up worried about a friendship. You got to grow up, and this is spiritually. We got to stop being babes in Christ and idolizing our feelings and what I want, and I feel like this is my person and this and that. And God is like, they serve their purpose. Let them go and move forward. Don't aid in the bed, because blood is going to be on your hands. When you wake up and you realize that you are going to have to give an account for every soul, Their blood is going to be on your hands and you got to answer. What you going to say? Sometimes we can get so to a point where we don't really see the severity of it, right? Because it's spiritual. So when we can't see carnal things, it kind of be like, it ain't that bad, but you don't realize what's taking place spiritually. But that is one of the indicators. Like, you got to be real sensitive to your seasons. You have to know when times have changed, because one thing I realized that God is on the move. He may be in one place one time, but you got to be able to sense when God has left. That means your time has expired. We have to be able to understand that we're always learning and growing. We're getting to different altitudes, and God is going to be like, okay, yeah, that served in that season, but now I need you to do something different. Now I need you to let go, and you got to be sensitive to that. You got to sense when things have shifted spiritually. You got to be able to tell the signs. You got to be able to hear, right? You got to be able to see. And I'm not talking about with your physical eye. I'm talking about with your spiritual eye. You got to be able to hear what's not being said. Okay, it's time. And you got to be able to move in obedience quickly, not slow. Because I realize slow obedience is still disobedience. You got to be able to be quick with it. Okay, it's time to go. And it's not always about leaving on bad terms. Like I said, this ain't got nothing to do with you and everything to do with me in my walk with Christ. One thing I have realized, you're going to get to crossroads in your life where you're going to have to choose that person or God. You're going to have to choose God and something else. And baby, I ever have to choose between God and somebody else, that person or that thing or that whatever, is going to lose every time, because I'm going to choose God every time, and I don't care how they feel.